Everyone, welcome back here to the Automotive Logistics and Supply Chain Red Sofa here in Mexico City. So pleased to be joined once again by Peter Koltai, who's leading logistics and production control here for Volkswagen de México. And Peter, you joined us, and we'll hear from your team as well, but you joined us particularly on stage today talking about some of the changes we've seen in the supply chain post-2020, that shift from efficiency focus to resiliency focus. Can you talk to us a little bit about some of the specific changes that has meant here in Mexico?
Well, we were forced to redesign many of our supply chains solutions which we had in the past. Mainly it was driven by interruptions which we have never faced before in time. Just to say, to take some examples, in last year we have faced a situation that, for example, our major deliveries from South America were showing delays up to 4 weeks on the seaway, and also we had some disruptions with the European supplies, where in some cases vessels has been overtaking each other on the Atlantic Ocean. As a reaction on that, we need to rethink how resilient are we with our stock policy, and for those areas where we see in the past that the deviation is continuously happening, we had to increase our stocks. This is an old style reaction, but as a first reaction we had to do it. Additionally to that, we have set up dual sourcings. So we were looking after different other partners that they can help us, and offering other services where it was possible to minimize the risk which we were facing in the past. This is one example of it.
Very good examples. And obviously with things like dual sourcing, increasing inventory, that does come with some potential added cost in places. How do you manage that increase in cost? Does it mean you have to change the KPI view and prioritization? Do you need to balance it elsewhere? What's some of your view on that?
The major KPIs for a factory does not change. Doesn't matter how resilient or how reliable your supply chain is. Our major focus is to assure that we have a stable production and that we are keeping our cost targets. As all these additional reactions which I have described before are related to additional costs, we had to start to search all the other areas to reduce the existing process cost to stay at the same level or even go more down with our costs. It means that we were looking after operations in more details than it was in the past, because these operations did not take a big part of our cost in the supply chain. Now they are also under focus, and we are having a regular look on our contracts, which we have done in the past, maybe every 3 to 5 years. Now, with the volatility of the market, we need to discuss with our partners also that we always stay on the market level of the costs. So at the end, we do not receive any other adjustment in our targets. We had to keep it as it was in the past.
Yeah, absolutely, to stay competitive nonetheless. One of the topics in the conference today is regionalization, nearshoring, more investment in the supply chain here in Mexico and North America. It's an interesting situation for Volkswagen because on the one hand, I'm sure you're doing that. You also have a transformation coming with the Golf production. Where do you see greater logistics requirements to support you in some of that regional transformation of the supply chain here in Mexico?
First, I will point out some very positive effects from the Mexican industry and car industry and the transport services. So in the recent or in the past, when we look at, we are facing very stable services, for example, in our port operations. There is also a high flexibility, what you see in Mexico from all the service providers that they are giving to us. This helps to compensate many times the obstacles we are looking at in the Mexican transportation and logistics network. Several years ago already it started that many times road blockages are causing unexpected impacts on our factories. In worst case, there is an interruption of the production, and if we can react early enough in it, we have only additional costs for additional transportation. This is because some conflicts between public areas and the governmental areas are hijacking the transportation and the traffic on the roads. So if there could be some solution for the future, that would give for every of us in the industry a much higher reliability. And the flexibility which we see in the service provider industry, we do not have on the same level in the ports and in the airports. If you plan in advance early enough, you can arrange all your requirements, but sometimes for weekend requirements, it's getting now more difficult to have a solution for any urgent deliveries or any urgent transportation.
Points that obviously that would make the supply chain more flexible and competitive if we can resolve some of that. One area that has also been important for your team is digitalization and connecting systems, improving visibility to be more dynamic. What are some of what has helped you most to achieve this digital transformation over the past 2 years, as your team is talking about on stage?
To explain this one, I would like to take one major example where I'm very proud on that, how far we came with monitoring all the capabilities of our productive suppliers in case of required delivery fulfillments. In the past, we have had many times surprising effects when expected deliveries were not coming out of the supplier's facilities. So it drove to us that together with purchasing and with quality assurance, day by day, we are looking at all the data, what we can collect from all of our suppliers, what we receive, mainly out of our systems, so we can see who is in backlog, how this backlog is deviating day by day, who is not delivering announced deliveries, at which production sites or at which supplier sites we are facing waiting times for our transportation companies. We receive all this information from them. And also which are the suppliers that they are delivering to us some transportation, some volume, which are they paying on their own cost. And all this impacts and all these signals are giving us a picture of deviation. And in the past several times we were able to find critical situations at the suppliers before that they started to communicate to us, and we were able to react on this.
And finally, as I mentioned, you're presenting here at this conference together with a number of your leaders in your team, and you put a focus in your presentation on talent as well and being ready for the future. What are some ways you're looking to instill this culture of resilience and mindset as well, to have a changed and digital mindset and a resilient mindset to manage all of these disruptions that we continue to see?
I'm a really believer in that if you are able to create a working atmosphere without having any fear and having a very open failure culture, is giving a lot of motivation and a lot of energy for the people looking after solutions for the problems. If you achieve it, that your employees and also your management are able to explain the failures, what they do, and to analyze and to give the lessons learned out of it to all the others in the organization, then we are able to attack very quickly and very efficient the real problems, and to create solutions. Like, for example, my example out of the digitalization is also a clear example for that. Then it was no hiding and searching for somebody who is the, let's say, the reason for having the no supplies from the suppliers, but looking after that, how are we able to detect it early enough that there will happen something. So it's a question of mindset and a working atmosphere.
Absolutely. Well, Peter, we're so glad that you and your team were able to join us. Look out for more highlights from the event from Peter, as well as other presentations from the Volkswagen de México. It's been a pleasure having you here, and thanks for joining us on the Red Sofa.
Very much.